All right, crew. So, back for episode 26.
Yeah, with another special guest, Andrew Webber. Welcome, mate.
Thanks, guys. A pleasure to be here.
So, another long-time 3PC member. Actually, one of the very first. So, been around a while now. Over 5 years.
I reckon, yeah, 5 years.
OG.
So, like we sort of talked about in the last episode with Len about getting a few of our members on who have some cool stories and cool backgrounds to share a little bit of their insights and stuff. But I guess with you today, there's a few different things that we can talk about. Obviously, sporting background and just training in general. There's a lot to dissect there, which we'll get into. But also like business side of things as well. So there's definitely a lot that we can talk about today. We'll try and keep it brief because you're busy. Obviously, another 3PC parent as well with 2 kids and all that sort of stuff. So I thought what we could potentially start off with, well, I don't know, maybe you had a different point, Will, but
This would be so funny if I've just sent you the run sheet and then Josh just goes on a full different tangent.
That's all good.
I was more so just going to be sort of talk about, because I want to talk about your early life and sporting life and that as well, but I want to talk more so getting into 3PC first and just that little journey first, like what you've enjoyed about our style of training.
Yeah.
And sort of we'll go from there.
Yeah. Well, before we get started, I just want to say you guys are doing an awesome job with the gym and just how you managed to diversify your offering and, you know, going out on your own and you're very responsive to members' ideas and, you know, you're doing everything with your social content and, you know, your podcasts and all that stuff, which is a great addition to the overall gym. So you guys are doing a great job and you've inspired me and our business to do better. I know, Josh, some of the stuff you've been putting on TikTok and IG, some of the viral stuff has been pretty awesome. So we've, you know, taken a few things from what you've done and applied it to our business as well.
Some viral videos as well now.
Yeah. Got 2.6 million for one of our
not bad.
Did you actually?
TikTok. Yeah, for one of our lawyer clients. So yeah, just
is that James?
Yeah.
He got me out of trouble, so that was good.
No, it's so yeah, we just borrowed some of the ideas and just the structure that Josh has done and you guys have been doing and applied it to what we've done, which has been really good. So no, you guys doing a great job.
Appreciate that, brother.
So because you sort of touched on that there, I guess the way that we've been able to adapt to things and make changes as we go on. I feel like that's maybe one of the probably key reasons why you sort of decided to join us. And when we so obviously we knew each other from a past gym. That's where we met you and you know, we coached you there and then we went out and did our own thing. And pretty much one of the key reasons for us doing our own thing was so we could adapt and make changes and, you know, diversify the training styles a little bit because everything was, you know, it was good with what we were doing, but it was very much the same. Yeah. And there was no change happening. And obviously as people adapt, you need to make changes and, you know, adapt to what they were doing. So I'm assuming that's sort of what sort of led you to follow along.
Yeah, I think, you know, like being a business owner as well and you guys taking the plunge, like I always like to support people that take the risk because it's a massive gamble. Yeah. And, you know, you got to put your money where your mouth is and, you know, it's a difficult journey and you guys doing that is, you know, being able to support that and be along with you has been a great ride. And I think the best thing about what you guys can do, not being beholden to a franchise and being locked into any training programs, is that you're able to adapt and offer a variety of different programs and then change things when they're not working. And that's what's really good is, you know, if class is getting a bit boring or it's just not vibing, right, you guys are quick to change it or implement new measures to... I
thought that was massive, especially with like COVID, especially when that whole saga came about. Just even like, we'd have a few classes here and there, like remember when we did downstairs and upstairs and whatever, and just like changing that up, I think really helped compared to a lot of other franchises where they are so stuck in there, you know, you got to do this workout because it's on the TV and you can't really change it, you know.
Yeah, you're locked in and, you know, where we were previously, the style of training obviously was less weights focused and obviously the results are kind of capped at what you can do because there's a lot of cardio, so you can never really get, you know, speaking from a male's perspective, obviously I want to put on muscle and grow, you know, at the time when I sort of joined with you guys was looking for something to augment my training at basketball, which only had a limited amount of time in which I could actually do additional exercise because I was training so much. And
how many times were you training a week with like I mean, we'll get into it. I'm jumping a little bit, but
Yeah, so when I was playing for Norwood, the NBL 1 level, we trained twice a week for an hour and a half. Then we had our game Saturday night.
Yeah, okay.
And I would do probably 2 extra shooting sessions a week for about an hour, plus, all the stretching and all this other stuff after hours as well. So I only really had 1 or 2 sessions I could really sort of lock into every given week. So, yeah, it was always good to do some weights and then also some cardio as well. But most of the time I was so tired or sore that it was sort of like I didn't want to do too much cardio because I was already fatigued.
Yeah.
And, before game day, I wanted to sort of manage that workload as well. So
100%.
Yeah, so well, maybe that we've touched on that now, we can talk about this, because I think what we're going to chat about today is how your own sort of training has evolved, going from, a kid where you can pretty much do anything and whatever and feel fine, and then to a bit more of an athlete career, and then transitioning from that to parenthood, juggling exercise and fitness and health and all of that, and then transitioning to out of sport and career into how your training's focused there, or how your training and your focus on training has changed during that period of time. So obviously you would have gone through lots of different goals and training philosophy, style, all of that has changed a lot over the last few years, probably more rapidly over the last 5 years or so, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be cool to get a lot of insights how your mindset and just the way you've gone about things has changed during that period. So obviously to get there, we can go back to the start. So you grew up with a basketball background?
Yeah, so my parents both played when they were younger, and my dad played, I think he played NBL 1 or ABA or whatever it was known at the time, played a couple of seasons there for Central Districts, tore his ACL, and then Central's won the premiership that next year, so he kind of missed out on that.
Oh, that sucks.
So that sucks for
That
him.
sucks.
And that's their only premiership in history. So that was, I don't know when that was, the 80s or 70s or whenever it was.
2 is the weak chain.
Yeah.
Weak link.
So, yeah, we were sort of always in basketball. I actually played a lot of soccer. I played a lot of other sports. I was into running, did a lot of middle distance or, like 3Ks and 1,500 meters when I was in primary school and that, and did quite well at nationals and stuff like that in middle distance running. So not really great for basketball, but I was always super fit. I probably should have played footy. Being 5'10" and 80 kilos.
Yeah.
I can run reasonably well distance. Probably doesn't lend itself well to basketball, but just always loved basketball probably the most, but I still played other sports, but I loved basketball the most, and I just would always gravitate towards that. And I would be out there every night, and I'd just be shooting, just constantly practicing. I'll be out there for an hour, 2 hours a night. This is probably from age 12 to probably 18, or when I left home, shooting 2 hours a night. Rain, hail or shine.
Were they drills, or were they just like you'd just go out and have a shoot?
I had a bit of a structure, but I was I would always practice like game stuff. And, we had a bit of an angle backyard, so I was always shooting on a slight angle. So it actually kind of like my shot ended up adapting to the backyard angle because we lived in Belair in the hills. So I'd always be really good going to my right. I could fade because it was never a straight surface. Because I'm 28 now, so this is 25, 30 years ago.
38 now.
38.
38.
Sorry. 25 years ago, like basketball stadiums, there just weren't that many of them.
Yeah.
So we couldn't get to a court and do that.
True.
So we didn't really have, I went through SASI, went through the institute and played all that, but we didn't have access to as greater structured programs that, or education that other like guys have now, like because we didn't have the internet, so we didn't get any access to what the NBA players were doing and all these principles of training and philosophies of training. So we just focused on just doing more, working harder, and it was just like just grind it out.
It's like grits.
That was
grit
it.
Style.
Just work harder. And my philosophy was just work harder than everyone because I wasn't the tallest.
Shoot more, practice more.
Practice until it became just like everything was just automatic because I just drilled it so often. Just on my own outside. So when it came to the game, I was just all natural because I drilled it so hard for so long. If I could go back now, the amount of hours I spent doing that, if I had a much more structured training program, that would have been far more advantageous.
Well, it's the same as even like you said, footy or whatever sport now is like there's academies that you can do at bloody 12 or even
That's right.
probably younger, but like, you know, and then it's like, yeah, you know what training to do. They've, like certain drills, like there's so much now, like you said, that you can enter into. You know, even in high school, like there's just so many set paths where it's just like, it's not easier, but you're probably going to be benefiting from that a lot more than just doing random stuff at the time.
That's right.
But so I guess what sort of stage did basketball get more serious, I guess?
Yeah, probably about when I was sort of 15, when I was going through the SASI and then got into the state programs. I didn't make a state team till under 18, so I missed out under 16, first year, second year.
Is that like, there would have been, you're a point guard, I assume. It's like, yeah, with yours, is it like there's more, because I know when I played footy, Josh, you probably played, you were backlines, weren't you?
Yeah, sort of like all forwards and backs.
Yeah. You were wherever.
Wherever I could get a spot.
Like when I played footy, because I was a midfielder, obviously like I'm similar stature to you. Mm-hmm. So it's like there's a bigger basket of dudes that are our stature than there are, let's say, even like Josh being 6'1".
6, yeah.
6 foot 6'1".
I'm
like
just on the verge.
Yeah, like you're still taller, so they'd like, if you came into the academy, they'd probably be like, oh yeah, he could be a good,
He's got
like
more potential.
Yeah. Like compared to say you or I, who it's kind of like, oh well, there's like 8 of them, and they're all pretty good, and it's like they're all pretty similar like body stature, so they kind of just like pick the best one. So I feel like you almost have to be better in that role, compared to, you know, like we had one guy coming in when I played at Sturt, and he was like 6'8".
Yeah,
and
like we're going to try and make this guy better.
Dead set.
If you weren't good enough at the time, you're like, yeah, you're not going to get a look at.
Dead set, 100%.
Yeah.
So, no, did you find that with state teams? With like, was there more competition for those like point guard positions compared to, you know, your centers, your power forwards?
Yeah, absolutely. There was probably, you know, it's probably changed a fair bit now with like positionless basketball, and you know everyone's so massive. The kids are so massive now. It's like unbelievable. You know, being 6'6" was tall back, you know, 20 years ago. But now it's
crazy.
like the point guards are 6'6".
I think there's like
it's wild.
There's like a stat where it's like for every, like, I think even centimeter taller that you are, there's like it's like a 10% more likelihood of making the NBA or something like that. It's like, it's ridiculous. The size, and like I said, there was a lot more competition for the guard spots, so it was pretty cutthroat. South Australia was a pretty good basketball factory, like with the SASI Institute program, which was really quite a good program. We're always competitive around that in like nationally, so we always had a ton of good players coming through. But yeah, it was just going through that whole program was really difficult, but it was, you know, super worthwhile.
Yeah.
Was that 100%. Program more like, I guess, outcomes of that program? Was it more driven towards like state nationals than like NBL, or was it more derived towards state nationals than maybe more like overseas opportunities?
It's like a pro factory. It was like to get them to get the kids to AIS, get them to the NBL, get them to NBA, get to like build the Olympic program effectively. Yeah, right. So like guys that we went through, like Brad Newley, played professionally. He was in my age group. Joe Ingles, a couple of years younger, all went through the same program. So there's some really like, you know, guys that played NBA, you know, 10, 15 years. Like these are really like quality basketball players came from this program. So it was really solid.
Yeah, right. Did you and then so you did that, and then when did your transition to college happen? I was gonna say, because is it more like a scholarship, or is it like almost like a exchange? You know what I mean? Without tainting it, but like you know what I mean? Like, I went over for like volleyball, for example, because I'm from Heathfield High. Which you'd know because if you're from Blair. But like a lot of those boys, they'd go over there and they'd do it for like an exchange program. So they'd do like 6 months over in, you know, like Canada. And it'd be purely just for an exchange period.
It was so I mean, before we go into the college part, it's probably like after I finished sort of the institute, then I was playing like I was just playing domestic for Norwood here. And then I started playing NBL 1 at 17. So I was playing there 17. Started starting when I was 18, and then didn't stop starting until I finished my career. So it was 20 years starting 5. And then when I was probably 18, we went over with the SASI tour. We went to America on a trip, and I sort of got to see it. We played some colleges there. We got like thrashed mostly because they were a bit older. But I got exposed to it, and then I sort of was, oh, this is pretty cool. And then sort of started thinking about maybe college I could potentially do it, but it wasn't a very well worn in path. So I had to get some game tape. So when I started playing NBL 1, Mum actually would record all the games on a handheld camcorder, and we filmed all the games, and we ended up cutting up a highlight tape from all best games and stuff like that. And this is how long ago it was. We then had to stitch it all together and then put it on a CD, burn it onto a DVD, and then mail it over to the coaches. So there was no YouTube, there was no video hosting. So
that's crazy.
I think we made about 50 copies, and I emailed probably 250 schools, sent them my list of everything I did, sent them, would you like a game tape? Probably 20 of them said yep, sent out, posted them out by snail mail, and then I probably got 4 or 5 phone calls back from them, and
that's
then
nuts.
had ended up having 2 offers, had both of them were full scholarships, so I didn't have to pay anything. So one of them was Oregon Tech University, and then the one I ended up going to was in it's called Armstrong Atlantic State University in Savannah, Georgia, so in the deep south, which is Div 2 NCAA school. So I had another guy that I used to play against, Ben Madgen, quality player, was playing in the same conference, and so they sort of knew him because he was all freshman team. So and he was in one of the game tapes, so they knew that I was sort of up to that standard. So yeah, went over there, but it's serious business. Basically, you're a half college athlete. It's student athlete. So the student comes first, they say, which is bullshit.
Yeah.
So went there and had to study as well. So I came in there. I already had my university degree from Adelaide, Bachelor of Commerce, and I went over there to study. And I ended up doing first year introduction to economics or algebra.
Could you choose?
Yeah. So I was just going to do a business course. Yeah. Because I already had my units that I could transfer over. Yeah. So I just went there and it was year 8 maths. It was a joke.
That's so funny.
So I was just sleeping. I didn't really care too much about the study, but the basketball was professional level training. It was all consuming, and it was every waking hour was pretty much training or playing, and there were absolutely no principles of training. It was just do more basketball. Pre-season, I got off the plane, got there. Next day, coach was yep, open gym. So we played open gym, which is just 5-on-5 basketball. We did that for 3 hours, just play games. And then as we progressed along, we got into the pre-season running. So we'd get up at 5 a.m., go to the track at 6, run for an hour, had to run 2 miles every time, whether it was in different formats, come back to school, and then go to school from 9 to 12. 12:30, then had no time to eat in this whole situation, really. Yeah. Then had to go play open gym for 2 hours, then do an individual for 1 hour, and then go lift weights after that. And that was 3 times a week like that, and the other 2 days there was no running in the morning.
Jeez.
And that was just pre-season, so that was insane, and everyone was just so tired all the time. We just you weren't really getting.
So how are people paying their way over there and stuff like that? Because obviously things have changed now, but only very recently. But college athletes aren't getting paid, so anything
at the time, yeah.
Yeah. So, do you just have to?
What's your names? Yeah, Johnny Manziel.
Yeah, make your own way over there, and do you just have to are these other? Because you were scholarships, so obviously it helps. But were these guys having jobs as well and fitting that in?
There's no time for work.
It was
room and effectively got board, so we got the accommodation paid for, and then they would give us meal checks. So we'd get X amount of dollars in meal checks, and that would pay. You could use it at the
different stores,
the canteen or whatever it's called, the
cafeteria.
Yeah. You'd go there, get your lunch, dinner, whatever, all that there, and then there was a Quiznos there. You guys remember Quiznos?
No.
It's like Subway and Quiznos.
No.
I don't remember that.
Yeah,
they toasted they toasted their sandwiches before Subway did.
Yeah,
and
okay.
Subway were why don't we just toast ours, and they put them out of business. But anyway,
true.
So you could get your food all on campus, which was pretty good. And then I think I didn't get paid under the table or anything, but I think there's some of the other guys that weren't because I was an international student, we could afford to sort of my parents would help out. And we had, and that's why our coach liked international students, because he knew we could do the study and then we could pay our way. whereas some of the other athletes on the team were potentially not as dedicated to studying, and work was done on their behalf, and money was provided to them to do what they did.
Yeah, interesting. So how long did that last then?
So I didn't actually play a whole lot. So I ended up only staying for a year.
Yeah.
So I stayed I had a bit of a falling out with the coach in the end, because he was a psycho. He was just abusive. He'd just abuse you all day. And I don't think I barely hit the court over there, even though I was good enough to play. And I was playing at a higher standard back here in Adelaide. So we're playing against, all the NBL players back in this league, which is a better league than where I was playing. The coach had a favourite, so I barely saw the court. So I was like, what am I doing over here? So then I came back to Adelaide after a year, after I did 2 spring break trips, one through the Bahamas and then one through California.
That would have been so shit.
So it was pretty much a 2-week bender, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Because I barely drank for the whole time there.
So you'd have 2 drinks and you were done.
I was absolute lightweight. So,
yeah.
But that was awesome. Made heaps of friends and stuff.
That's elite.
It was a great experience. It was really eye-opening being in the South, the deep South, the culture.
So different.
The overt racism, it was just a massive culture shock with, it's a real Bible Belt. It was just a real different way of living, and it really opened my eyes to, I guess, the world and how it is, which was, it didn't work out for me basketball how I wanted to. I got a lot better, but just from a worldly standpoint, I became a much better person and just really learned a lot. And I learned a lot about what not to do as well.
Yeah.
So the goal, obviously, then going over there would have been to try and get in the NBA one day, that sort of thing. Was it then after that year point where you just it's not worth pursuing anymore? I've got better chances pursuing other goals back in Australia. Was that?
Yeah. So I pretty much resigned myself to the fact that I'd never play NBA because I just wasn't tall enough or probably good enough or athletic enough.
It's that weird, 'cause how old were you then when you sort of said that? Had that?
To me, going to college was just the biggest thing, because there was hardly anyone doing it. I was just if I can get to college, that's a great achievement. I'd love to play NBL, was kind of what I wanted to do. But it was never I was like, nah, that's not really on the cards for me. But when I did come back, I did get some offers to go to some camps for NBL camps and that. But I had to make a decision then and there about what I wanted to do with my life. And that was, do I pursue, I call it hoop dreams, and just keep chasing and doing all that, or do I go, what's better for your long term? Is your business, your career? Because I got my old job back at Elders in the marketing stuff, so I was using my degree and I was getting paid decent money, shit money at the time. I seemed pretty good at
when
the
you're a
time.
kid.
Yeah,
$34,000 a year, 40 hours a week. So pretty good money at the time.
So funny. I remember even my first shift, at the old. Oh no, even So I used to do cherry picking back in the day, when I was 13 or something, and you got paid $12 an hour. And they'd be I remember going to the other boys that were they're a little bit older, they'd probably be 18, 19, and they were doing it. And they're on 23, and I was like, dude, you're getting paid cash.
Yeah, it's that funny decision where you're in do I keep trying to pursue this though, or do I not take the foot off, but do I obviously pursue other things? It's every person playing sport growing up has to have that decision at some point in time. That you have to have that reality check with yourself. It's maybe there's always that maybe I could make it, but it's just all right, but how much am I willing to sacrifice now?
That's right. And I don't get me wrong, it doesn't I still think about that, and I'm man, I wish maybe if I'd just kept going, I could have played NBL, and But
it's so much easier as well when you're at this point as well, and you've learnt all of this stuff now.
Yeah.
Like we were just talking about before about the, back in the day there weren't no systems and stuff. It was just training harder. It's now knowing everything, you're oh god, would have been so much easier if I had done this.
One of the biggest things is with your kids that I feel you got 2 boys. It's if either of them were Dad, I want to play professional sport, whether it be footy, soccer, whatever, basketball, I feel you've just got such a better outlook on the way that they need to go about it. And I feel I don't know, I think about that if in the future, I was saying to Charlotte a while ago, if I had a son and he was playing footy, you just kind of know what to say and the mindset that they'd need to have compared to I suppose when I was doing it, when I was playing footy, you just think, I just thought I was a jet because I was always praised all the time because I was naturally athletic, so I was good at footy. And then it's like, it just dies off because everyone else starts working harder than you. But it's like,
just catch up.
Yeah. But if you've got that, like you with your knowledge now, I feel like your kids are in a beneficial spot. You know what I mean? From that experience.
Yeah, I think
if that makes any sense at all.
Like I think just being aware of like knowing the hoops you need to jump through, the steps you need to take in order to become like an athlete or a play at any high level, like, you know, NBL 1, which is semi-professional, but I treated it as I was a professional. I prepared like I was playing NBL, like no different than anyone else would at that level. But just knowing how to train, when to train, you know, the right things to do, you know, like the right, you know, now I know nutrition, I know training, weightlifting, you know, running training, just these technique things, focus on your jumping, all these tiny little technique things which you don't really like. I didn't know it existed, but now, you know, I look back, I'm like, man, if I had have learned to sprint at a young age, that would have been really helpful for me to be a better athlete, so I could potentially jump higher. Like, and you know, if I had better nutrition, then I would have been better served as well. So there's so many things the kids have access to, and I like, you know, I'm obviously not going to force any way whatsoever, but if they do decide to pursue anything, like I'll definitely like know I'll do the reason, I'll help them achieve that. And
it's hard because there's always that naivety where when you're younger as well, like, again, so easy for us to say these things now looking back on it because we've experienced it now and have the knowledge there, but back when, you know, I'm thinking when I'm 15, 16, like, even if someone was telling me those things, it's still going to be very hard to apply them. So I'm just getting a phone call. So like, it's always just that hard one to, I don't know, balance, I suppose. But yeah, you're always better off.
It's also who it comes from. If you've got people like, it's like, oh, Dad, you don't know what you're talking about. And it's like, well, like, you know, like I do, but then if you don't want to listen to me, like I've got 5 friends here, you know, like my father-in-law, my brother's father-in-law played for the Boomers, played against Michael Jordan and that. Like, so he's, you know, Mike Mackay, he knows how to play basketball at the highest level. It's like, well, go listen to him. Yeah. All these other mates that play professional basketball for a living, it's like, well, don't want to listen to me, like listen to these guys.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, there's just the knowledge there, and but it just starts at a young age, like just encouraging and you're just helping them out. Like, I don't, who knows?
Yeah, no, 100%. I just found that like interesting from my perspective, and 100%.
Can't hurt, but I mean, you look at the NBA, like the top players, you know, nature versus nurture. You've got Steph Curry's dad played in the NBA, Klay Thompson's dad played in the NBA. A lot of these kids coming through are like, you know, born and bred into.
Well, even look at like Charlie Woods with Tiger Woods with golf, like John Daly's son. I don't know his name, but like just them, like they've got so many resources. Like, you know, like Charlie Woods had Rory McIlroy teaching him his swing. I was like,
exactly. Same as father-son rule in there.
Yeah, like it's just nuts.
Like, you're bound to have that, you know, a better path there. So, what happens next is
NBL 1.
Yeah, so that's like SANFL versus
SANFL,
like AFL.
That's
like
it. SANFL, SANFL level.
So it's like the step below the
NBL,
NBL, which is the National Basketball League. So you're Adelaide 36ers and that sort of thing.
Except we have all of those guys play in our league.
Yeah.
And they used to like all play in that league.
Yeah.
Similar to like the old sort of back in the day AFL, SANFL, like you'd have a lot of the Crows players would be still playing for Nord and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Well, even now, like with the Port Adelaide teams and the Adelaide Crows team, like they come back from injury, like Tex Walker or whatever, and he's playing in the like Adelaide Crows for SANFL, like similar sort of ordeal.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
So that's the league you're playing in for Nord.
Yeah.
And so that was, so you get back, you played there obviously before, but then you come back from America and
come back from America,
join them again.
So I went over 2007. We lost the grand final, and then I basically got on the flight the next day after losing the grand final, which was devastating because it was a top all year. Got straight through to the grand final and then laid a massive turd in the grand final.
Yeah, it happens.
But they did have. They had Dusty Riker, used to play for 36ers, playing for North, and he was like, I think it was the NBL MVP. So he was like 6'8", and he came out and had like 30 and 20 in the grand final, pantsed us. Then I went to America, came back, and then the next year is 2008. I'm playing NBL 1 there, back for Norwood. And yeah, that year we won the premiership. So I don't know if you want to go into that one, but
Was that your famous moment?
that was my finest moment in perhaps all of eternity. So so that was pretty awesome.
So what happened? I'll overlay the clip, like you mentioned. But basically, what happened? So did you get the ball from the inbound?
Yeah. So we started off. We were up all game, and then our other point guard, Toddy Matthews, fouled out, and then we were probably up by about 10 with about 3 minutes to go, and then proceeded to choke the game away. So after we'd lost the grand final last year, we basically choked this away. Got down by 3 with 15 seconds to go. Went down. We hit a 3. We're like, bang, we're back even. They went inbound the ball, went the full length of the court.
Do not say they scored.
Fouled and won. 2 points up. They were 2 points up with 3.5 seconds to go.
That's so much more pressure. I feel like the difference between a buzzer beater when you're even, as in when it's just 70 and 70 and you're going into overtime, it's there's still pressure there, but also you're not losing anything if you don't hit it. Yeah. I feel like when you're down by 2, that's massive.
So down by 2, they're at the free throw line. Going through my mind, I was I can't tell you how upset I was. I was absolutely shattered. I was devastating because I've lost the game. And I'd never really won a premiership my whole life. And I was just being what have I, why can't we win? And I was just devastated. Just all that come through your mind. You're just this sucks.
Yeah.
But then, it's crazy, and a lot of people don't really believe me. But I just had this flash of, I just know what to do. I was something came out. I was I know what to do. I'd been probably 6 weeks out from the grand final, from the finals. I'd been visualizing. I'd been dreaming about something happening, and I was starting to become in my dreams. I was dreaming about, because you always dream about hitting a game winner. But I was sort of visualizing, starting to feel I don't know. I just was visualizing that in lead up to anything of it. Obviously, got to this moment, and then it was everything became clear, and there's 3.5 seconds. 3.5 seconds. We're at the free throw line, and he's got one free throw to go. And I said to the guys, just get the rebound. So David Cooper, our big guy, the ball guy on the clip there, said, he's gonna fucking miss. He's gonna fucking miss. And then that's what triggered me. I was okay, we're okay. He still believes, because he plays 36ers. And then and I was all right, we can do this. And then I just sort of said, just get me the fucking ball and get out of the way. And I don't know what came over me. And then obviously shot went up, rimmed out. He got the rebound. I curled around, got the ball, took 2 dribbles. I just felt totally calm. Just felt natural. Just put it up just over halfway. Just threw it up, and I was as I was in there, I was that looks pretty good. And then it banked in and went in, and I was just my whole body exploded, jumped in the air. That wasn't even me jumping. I was just it was just emotion jumping out of me. And then I was my first thought was man, overtime. And then I looked over and saw, we fucking won. And then I started running. And then the boys got around me, and one of them was choking me out, and I was couldn't breathe in the thing. And everyone was at me, and it was a pretty awesome experience. And just one of those moments you can never hope to sort of match that thing. It was just unbelievable.
Yeah,
surreal.
that's nuts.
Just something you remember forever. And but yeah, and after the game, I was pretty I think I was in shock. We were celebrating. Obviously, went pretty hard after that. But I was just sitting at the pub, and we're just what just happened?
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's absolutely wild.
That's
but yeah,
nuts.
It was a lot of a huge relief at the same time, because we worked so hard to get there.
Yeah.
And then we thought it was gone, and then we snatched it back, and then
that's
was awesome.
crazy.
And then we came back and won the next year as well. So we went back to back, which was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then we won again in 2015. So ended up with 3, which was pretty good.
Yeah.
I feel for that guy that missed the buzzer beater, that missed the free throw.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't
easy.
feel bad for them, because they won the year before and buzzer beater against us.
Oh,
so
really?
don't feel bad for them.
Fuck them.
All right. So while you're playing basketball at this level, so like you said, pretty semi-professional level, and it's the same for mates that I know who play SANFL and go from teens into early 20s playing that. What was your training like then? Were you still doing weights and stuff like that, or was it a bit more random? Or
Yeah, no, like I'm very regimented with everything I do. I love
Couldn't tell.
love structure. I just like, game day and like everything. I put the left shoe on first, like this kind of stuff. I'm very regimented with what I do on game day. Eat the same thing, sleep, all this kind of stuff is very regimented. So my training throughout the week was always the same, and I'd always chuck in. There'd be a couple of weights in there. I didn't really ever do it on game day. Or on practice day because I'll just get too tired and I'd have to work as well, so I didn't have a lot of time, and I didn't get up early enough to go to the gym or anything like that. It wasn't like group training or anything I could go to. It was just like go to a gym and just lift weights as best you can. And we did a lot more upper body stuff, like real bench press and stuff like that, and like probably not great basketball activity, but that's all we kind of like knew at the time because we didn't really have a lot of access to information around what we should be doing. But yeah, we'd have a couple of trainings a week plus an extra shooting session, and then probably 2 weight sessions a week as well on top of that.
And then when did that start to evolve where you started training outside of, like, you started to get into group fitness and that sort of stuff? What made you sort of start to broaden what you were doing?
Yeah, I think for me it was just like I got to the point where I just didn't want to think about doing it anymore. Like, and I'm the type of person, if you tell me, I just wanted to go to the gym and be told what to do, because I had no issue working hard. It was just like, I just want someone to tell me what to do and I'll just do it. So that I could just turn up instead of going into the gym and go, what do I do next? Like, what's the next exercise for me? It's just like, it's all laid out. I can just go and do it, get fitter and have someone else manage that. And just, that's just one less thing to worry about. So I can focus on the other things. Yeah. Especially as I started a business and all that kind of stuff. Like, I just didn't have a lot of time to be thinking about, what to do, what to train, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
When did you start marketing department?
Oh, it's over 10 years now. It's probably 12 years ago.
Yeah. Okay.
What year are we?
2024.
Yeah. So it's probably 12 years ago, maybe 13 years ago now. So yeah, been running that. Sort of slowly been growing over time, which has been really good.
So yeah, sort of try and tie it all together. Playing basketball as well, and then starting your own biz, but then balancing like your training and stuff like that. So obviously, like you said there, that sort of makes sense, that transition, because like you're saying, you wanted someone to just be able to tell you what to do and you just do it, because you're busy outside of basketball, like you're starting to start your own business and work and that sort of thing as well, so that sort of takes care of that as well. And then obviously you still got your basketball stuff as well, but then you start weaning out of basketball, and obviously as well that would have been a pretty big decision as well, because you start getting older, a lot of other commitments in your life,
other things,
a lot of work commitments. So that's like almost back to before we were talking about that age where you got to be like, oh, do I keep pursuing this now, or do I focus on these other things? Yeah, as well.
So I think I had that, like towards the end of my career. Obviously, COVID kind of messes everything up. We lost a couple of seasons, so towards the end of it, it just got a little bit messy. We had a whole season cancelled, and it was a bit. And then I came back, so we pretty much had that whole year off of not playing NBL 1. Came back a week before the season. I tore my ACL, so that was obviously pretty shit. And then sucks. Aston, firstborn, he came 2 days later. 2 days after my ACL surgery.
That's right. I remember this. Yeah.
About that.
Yeah.
So that was like the fact that I was missing a whole season, obviously, like the trauma of that, going through the surgery, all that emotion, plus having your first kid. It was just an awful lot of emotional energy and trauma, and it was obviously difficult on Christy as well, because I was like really upset because I'd waited so long to play again, and I was miserable. Surgery, coming back from that was extremely painful, and it was just like really hard. And then obviously having a newborn, a huge life change all happening at once, and just not being able to be, I guess, have the full experience of having your first child and be fully not present. I was on endone during the birth, so I was
literally.
Christy was having one for you, one for me, kind of thing, and I was sitting there with an ice pack on my knee, and I was in a lot of pain, and I wasn't able to do perhaps everything I wanted to do. Yeah. For that, so we didn't get that full experience of going there, and I blacked out driving to the hospital because I was in so much pain, and my pain meds were wearing off and kind of stuff like that. So that was really that period was really hard, and just coming back from the ACL and just getting the rehab was super difficult, on top of running the business and having a 6-month-old or a newborn was really hard.
And how did you I guess so we can talk about that now. How did you find going from pretty much like basketball, when you're playing at that level, it's almost like its own full-time job in itself, like separate to work. How did you go from basically having all of that, where you're saying like you're training multiple times a week, games, blah blah blah, to like nothing, and then having kid, and like how did you transition your exercise goals and what you were doing then in that period?
Poorly. I think initially, like coming back, I think when I tore my ACL, then it was sort of like, all right, well, I'm going to come back. I want to play next year. So then I sort of changed my shot. I spent a lot of time rebuilding sort of all that, ready to come back the next year, because I just desperately wanted to play, because I'd missed that whole year, and I just loved playing basketball. I just loved it. Love the process of it. I love the challenge of getting better, improving, and stuff like that. And then I think sort of once I came back from the ACL and played the next year, it was sort of like it's changed a bit. Didn't really I wasn't really enjoying it as much. And then it's just everything had sort of changed. Just what it wasn't anymore. And just the sacrifice required to play became just too much, because I was out every night, and Christy had to look after Aston. And there was just too much away time for no benefit, because perhaps I wasn't playing as much as I wanted to, wasn't getting the outcomes I wanted for the sacrifice, and then it got to the point where I was just like, what are you doing this for? And then I guess at the end of that year we didn't end up how I wanted, and then sort of just decided it wasn't really worth pursuing anymore. I was just like, I think I'm done. I've had enough of this, and it's sort of changed the whole the sport, I wasn't what it used to be, and I wasn't enjoying it as much. But that decision to not continue playing, like they say, an athlete dies twice, and that's what it feels like. You spend your whole life being an athlete. Like, I'm a basketball player as part of my identity, and once that's gone, it was last year was hard from that perspective. Just sort of coming to terms with that. I'm like, I don't get to play anymore. And what I really enjoyed playing was, the mateship. I had inbuilt friends that perhaps like a social outlet, which I don't potentially have as much now. Was that I just turn up to training, I had mates already there. It's that outlet. It's playing in front of people. This that you can't get that vibe. You can't get that feeling. You hit an important shot, you get the chills in you get that. You just cannot replicate that anywhere. And knowing that you're never ever going to get that again, it's just like you work so hard for that one moment where you win that premiership, that kind of stuff, or those airport moments, as we call them, where you run into someone from your old team. Like, what's the first thing you're going to talk about? Those airport moments. It's like, remember when we did that? Like, that's what you play for. And I'm really going to miss that. That's what I just... You miss that. You miss being around 100%. The boys, like that whole vibe. So, it's the transition from being a semi-professional athlete and doing all this work to that, to just going to the gym and stuff. It's been a
because you didn't really have like a phase out. It was just kind of like dead stop.
A few footy players sort of they go back to their old clubs, like country league, and then they make a bit of cash, and then they sort of then wean out after that. But
even like a lot of my mates, they've kind of given up footy, and quite a few of those boys are pretty good. Like, they played Samful and whatnot, and it's just like, like even they said they're like they hate footy, but they love the mateship about it, and they're like, Rudd's like one of my good mates. He was saying he played at Port Adelaide, and he was like, knew it was time to hang up the boots when I was going in sore. Like, on Saturday, I was rocking up to the game sore, let alone then I had to play. And he's like, but you just want to hang around like your mates and stuff, which is like the hardest part, giving up. Because like you said, you go to a training and you've got all the boys there, and you're catching up with all your mates, compared to, you take that away, and it's like you can still catch up with them, but it's a lot harder to do it, and like everyone's kind of driven towards, we're going to training like Tuesday. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
it's a huge transition, and it was like. It's been difficult. It's still I still have moments. I'm like, man, I wish I could still play. Like, I know I can still play.
Yeah.
But also, I don't miss being in the amount of pain that I was in. And, I mean, proper pain. sleeping and stuff,
can't sleep
walking.
properly, getting home, you're just absolutely disabled.
That's right. Smashing, Panadol, like anti-inflams, like all day. Like it's just to get up to train. Like, I'd have to have an hour of like warming up to before I even started practice.
Yeah.
Just so I could be like not a corpse on the court.
Yeah.
And I was just like, and then I'd be, get home Saturday night and we'd play at 8 o'clock at night and get home at 11. And I'd just be a write-off on Sunday because I just couldn't walk. So I was just like, is this worth it? Can I why am I doing this to myself? Like, what more?
That's why golf's so good, brother. That's why you got to get into it.
So then obviously you stopped doing that, but they basically started training here a little bit more and focusing on more specific goals here, I guess, because I feel like naturally it's sort of what happens when people stop sport and that, and then it's like, well, I still want to achieve things, and it's like focus on things.
Saying that, you are looking way better than what you are right now compared to when you're playing basketball, because I feel like you were saying like
skinny.
Yeah. We're talking about
you always get so skinny during the season.
Yeah, you just lose a lot of muscle during the season, and then it's like you go into off season.
I think I'm sort of just trying to like work out what I want to do. Like I don't want to get into running or anything just like that just yet. I don't really want to like do cycling or any other sport. I'm just sort of like, I'm not saying I'm in a grieving spot. I'm just like, I just need to get my body healthy again after my ACL, build up my muscles, work on like I'm enjoying all the stuff we're doing here, like working on my technique, getting better at deadlifts and squatting and things like that, being able to like load up, which perhaps I haven't been able to do that for 20 years because it's just stupid to be doing heavy weights because you just cause injury and it's not really conducive to playing basketball, which is ultimately like you have like good flexibility throughout your shoulders and hands and wrists, and like lifting super heavy isn't really conducive to that.
How have you found the balance now between training pre-kids and now having two little ones? Because obviously you and Christy would come in 6:30 every morning, coming together, blah, blah, blah. Now obviously things are a lot different. So how have you, because that's obviously been pretty common topics that we've brought up on the podcast. Yeah. How have you managed that? And do you have any tips to, I guess, sort of help with that?
I think we've sort of found a good spot at the moment, like now that we've split the sessions, because I've started coming at 5:15, which I'm actually really enjoying, which is good, coming early, and then Christy's been going to 6:30. So instead of sort of, taking it turnabout, I'm just coming in the morning, which has really made it easier because the kids are still asleep. Yeah. When I'm up, and then Christy will go, and then the kids will get up, and then we go to work, and it's all good. Yeah. So I think having splitting that time has been good, and just sort of having it set in stone that you're going at least 2 times a week each, and alternating. Chrissy's happy doing the cardio stuff. Obviously, I'm like more interested in doing the weights, but we try and keep a balance that we both come together on Saturday, which works pretty well. I'm not as attached to cardio at the moment, but yeah, it's working better being able to split. I guess have different shifts.
Yeah. Right. It's probably pretty common among most parents that we sort of see. Like I think it helps when both the parents are doing some form of exercise as well. Like,
100%.
Like
I feel like
not to like everyone's situation's different, obviously, so you can't like judge. But maybe we probably have more mums here training with us than we do like dads. But like a lot of the mums that we see maybe struggling to get into the gym, it's maybe because their partner isn't training or doesn't really care about going to the gym. So it's like
I feel like pre-kids can really like make the wheels fall off with like parents training in a sense. Like it just rocks them so hard that they're just like, oh, I just don't have time for it. I'm too tired and whatever.
But it's also then like if you've got, if like Christy can come to the gym because she's going to handball the kids off to you because you've done your gym shift. But then if it's like, the other person's not worried about going to the gym or whatever, it's going to make it a lot harder to like, sacrifice because you're sort of like sacrificing. I'm going to go have my 60 minutes of time. You look after the kids for me. So yeah, I don't know. It's probably just like a little thing, tidbit that probably noticed. But then you obviously said how much that works for you guys. So there's obviously something there to it.
I think it also, matters like how much the kids are sleeping as well. Yeah. And if your kids aren't, and also like ours are at the age now, they're 3 and just 14 months. So they're sleeping a lot better. So that's unlocked a few more. Like it's fine for me to get up at 4:30 5:30 or 4:15 as it may, like, and I don't care.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting enough sleep to sort of cover that. Whereas earlier on, like, that was just brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're up
That's probably where
5-6
you gotta,
times a night.
hamper your expectations a little bit in that period too. We'd probably see most people who return to the gym, or like we get a lot of new trialers come in, and it's like, how old are your kids? And it's like, like 2 to 3.
Yeah.
And it's because things start to get a bit better then. So it's like maybe having the right expectations in that earlier period as well.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely. Like but just getting to the gym once is good. Like, I found for my mental health, like, not going to the gym, that's what I struggle with the ACL and like recovery. It was just like, man, like, I need to get in the gym, and if I miss a few days or a week, I just feel like crap. And just if you can get in once or twice, like, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah,
100%.
We talk about that all the time.
Yeah, if I was we're talking about it at the staff meeting like this morning. Yeah, we're literally saying like just how people go without exercising at all. Yeah. I'm like, I feel so off if I don't.
But I think like the longer you leave it, the more it snowballs.
Yeah, 100%.
So you feel more guilty, and like the thought of going back is worse and harder. So I think, but you just gotta like start small and just like have a low expect. Like, we say that to people all the time, like, oh, like I can't make it. I didn't make it 5 times this week. I feel bad. It's like, make it once. Like, set your benchmark so low that it's so achievable, and then like if you can do that, then you build that habit back up. How about from a business side of things? Do you have a few questions there?
I was going to ask, spoke to this morning about it. So said to Drew, if he was our like marketing advisor, manager, is that what we call it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then like what would be like 3 things that he would do to help us get more leads into the gym?
Yeah, you run business.
So he runs a business.
Yep,
yeah, so he kind of glazed over that.
Yes, I do marketing for a living. Yeah.
I feel like, just maybe before you do that, like, I feel like that's just one of those things where people say, like, what do you do? Oh, I do marketing. It's like such a blanket term, but like marketing's like fucking everything.
You know now because you're doing it all. You're a web designer. You're
no matter what you do. This is
AI
right
integration. Podcasting.
So like, I guess if someone did ask, like, what do you do? Like, if you give more of a detailed than just say I'm marketing.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think you do?
Our specialty is digital marketing in particular, but building websites that convert for small to medium-sized businesses, especially in the construction space in South Australia, helping generate leads and then convert them into sales using Facebook, Instagram, Google Ads, automation, and email marketing. So pretty much we act as the marketing department for our clients. So they outsource that whole function to us. So we do everything for them. So they just say, look after all that for us. We don't have time to do it, and we just handle that all for them, generate the leads, make sure they've got lots of quality customers coming in the door, prospects, and then it's up to them to convert them. And in a lot of the cases, we actually help them with the conversion side of things as well, to help them, did you call them? Like, which oftentimes they don't. You're like, well, what are we doing here? Call them. You've got to follow them up, and so we've got a CRM system that we use, Active Campaign. We're a certified partner for that, which we build automation, lead scoring, do a lot of off the plan property development marketing. So a lot of the stuff you probably see around Adelaide, we've probably had a hand in. Norwood Green down the road, Bowden Precinct. New one down at West Lakes, which is launching. We do a lot of marketing in that space to help the developers sell those off the plan.
So what was your question?
That
gives people more.
Yeah, no, that's a good shout. So what would be like 3 tips that you would all, I suppose 3 like strategies, I suppose?
Yeah. I think the first thing I would look at, like, in terms of because you guys do a really good job. So you're very clear on, I guess, your customer that you want. You're a different kind of gym than, say some of the other competitors' gyms, which you know your customers and what you're looking for. It's a much more relaxed vibe. It's no flogs, shirts off, all that's kind of like, we don't know what we're talking about here. Like that kind of style of gym, this is not what that is. It's very family friendly. It's very real, like you're real people and you genuinely care, and I think that resonates with the customers or all of us that go here, and they all appreciate that because you guys are likable and you genuinely care, and that's because of your business, you care, you want to like adapt and do things and make things better. I think in terms of wanting to grow, you said you've got some targets of how many new memberships and stuff that you want, is sort of working out how many you've got at the moment and then how many you need or you're looking to get. I think every individual that comes here has different reasons for coming. And I think understanding what they are or what the... and then grouping each individual into, I guess, a basket of people that are similar. So like I'm, middle-aged or whatever I am, 38-year-old male. I'm looking, heavier weights. That's kind of my vibe. And there's other guys at the gym that play footy. Yeah, we're probably in that basket there. You've got Christy and you got, parents, mums that have kids. They sit in that group and they have different requirements of what they're looking for in a gym, and then things that are like deal breakers for them. So if you sort of can identify, 3-4 different baskets of people, what the things that might be preventing them from signing up are, and then addressing those is always, putting that up on a board and writing all that out and understanding what it is that, why people are buying from you or like signing up and why they're not. And I know you guys are doing your survey and those kinds of things. It's super important. But I think that ties into probably your onboarding. I don't know how in-depth that is because I don't know. Sorry, I'll rephrase it. What your actual process is for that end-to-end and how best to optimize that. Because if people are coming in for a trial, I don't know what your conversion rate is. So it's kind of like it would be good to know your lead conversion rate to trial to then sign up and then where they're dropping out. Because if you only need 20 more people, like first of all, which classes do you want them to go to? Like, do you want them in the morning? Do you want the, parents? Do you want older people? Do you want single blokes? Like, and how you reach them with your marketing is going to be completely different. And then your main objective is to obviously get them in to do a trial. And then how do you get them from that trial to sign up? Like, what are the key things? So it's knowing exactly where they fit in with that, what the, doing their goals, understanding what they want. And then, potentially things like you could buddies or partners at the gym, you can word us up, tell me, hey, this is a new person starting. Like, make them feel wanted. Because sometimes when at the gym, might not even know it's their first time. So that kind of thing is like just identifying that, because your members are going to be the best salespeople for you.
Absolutely.
And you can use them, I'm not saying use them, but you can like help. Because it's all about, everyone says it's all about a community, and it is. And there's just sort of leveraging that to as best you can is sort of within that part of the sales funnel. I look at it as just a sales funnel where they can sort of help, do that for them, whether they want to be pushed or not pushed, or do they want friends there? Do you have a referral thing? Refer a friend, get whatever.
Yeah,
those kinds of things.
Yeah,
a few good points there.
Yeah, no, it's like literally what we've been trying to nut out. I think like big thing that you kind of touched on there was like just the different types of marketing to different people and how like it's so bizarre. And I've read that many books over the years that talk about niching down and having your ideal client avatar, and it's like it's so true that it's almost like, I don't know, it kind of took me back when it hit. It was almost like an epiphany moment. I'm like, well, no shit. Like if someone wants to, I don't know, but let's say it's just protein, for example, and I'm trying to sell it to Christy compared to you, I'm going to have two completely different marketing campaigns to go to her compared to you. And I'm like, rather than just saying, 22 grams of protein, it's like,
that means nothing to some people.
Yeah, like that means absolutely nothing. Me. But like it might mean something to you because you're trying to get your protein intake up. And like Christy, it might be, minimal ingredients, like all natural. And like, let's say she's breastfeeding, she's just had a little one. It's like, that might tick her boxes because she's like, I need that. Because it's going down that whole route of being all natural and not putting like fillers and artificial stuff into my body. So it's like, I definitely agree with that because it's been like a massive kind of like, I know what the word is, like not epiphany, but kind of like realization, I suppose, like just having those different marketing angles and like how big that is. Yeah,
well, I think you guys are doing a great job. Like, I don't think there's anything like, there's no silver bullet. Like, you're doing all the right things. You've got the podcast, you've got the macro, you've got the brand out there. You're doing great content. You're a social media influencer.
I'm not.
You used to be.
Yeah, not anymore. A different time.
Different demographic.
Yeah.
That you already sort of, you're kind of doing that. So it may not be, a marketing related thing. It might be an operational thing where it might just an easy fix. It's like, I don't know how many people you've got coming in for trials. It's like, they're the ones, because you put yourself in the shoes, like super intimidating coming to a gym.
Yeah,
right?
that's
and
what I was thinking about.
And the fact that they're here is
a big
huge
deal.
step.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, they're almost there. You just need to convince them and make them feel loved, or whatever it is that you've sort of determined that is important for them. And everyone's so lovely at the gym that, like, if they're aware of these things, and you're like, hey, just show them what to do, because they don't know what they're doing. And oftentimes you might see them, they're struggling. You're like, I don't. How long have they been here for?
Yeah.
Like, should I say anything? And if it's their first time, or they, have come from another gym where they don't do that, they're like, it's kind of like, that could be what tips them over. Like, yeah, it is a community. They're right. Everyone does help me, but you guys haven't necessarily had to do it.
Yeah.
But it's just that little bit of communication that might help, and it fosters that community vibe, which will definitely help. But I think from a social media marketing and stuff, like obviously getting your avatars, all the types of people, and then all your content, you're like, make sure you run it for those people. It's got to be relevant. And then obviously about running ads and all those things where you geo-target and age target and stuff like that. Obviously people have to live around the area. You got your radius and stuff.
Yeah.
Refer a friend. Why do people come to the gym? Because they've got their mates there. And like, how do you incentivize them, like, and all those kinds of things?
Yeah.
What's like, maybe less specific then, but like, what are some of the maybe couple of the biggest marketing mistakes you see people make, or brands make, or businesses?
Not trying enough stuff.
Literally said that this morning with like A/B testing.
A, B, C, D, E. Just throw shit at the wall and see what works. Yeah. Like, honestly, because there has never been a better time to do it yourself and do marketing, because you've got access to technology, which 5 years ago was unthinkable. Like the quality of the phones, and you've got CapCut, and you've got all the AI generating stuff, like for your captions and stuff. That again, 5 years ago, that was so hard to do and expensive. But the cameras here are legit. Like, they're so good. And, like Josh's stuff that he's making is just great content, and it's really cost effective. And thinking that it's unattainable is what people, not trying it, just like go out there and just give it a go and just see what works. Like, and what's the worst can happen? Like, hardly anyone sees your content anyway. Yeah. So you have to put out lots of different things and see what works. And just a mixture. Like, you might try a podcast. Does that work? You might try social media ads, Google ads, website, like, there's so many different things you can do, but if you don't try them, you don't know if it's going to work or not.
It's probably the scale of it too is important, or volume, because like you're saying, like, so many people don't see it anyway. It's like an old story that we've been told of, like, even doing like letterbox drops, for example. It's like, oh, like, how many did you do? And saying, oh, like 1,000. It's like, we don't even test with less than 5,000 flyers. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, you doing, like, if you just try 2 Instagram posts, it's like, no, you probably haven't tried. Like, you probably need to try 50 different posts and then see what happens there.
Absolutely. And like, our business is in a good position of like testing this stuff, because we do it for so many different clients in different markets. So we're doing criminal law stuff. We're doing roof replacements in Brisbane. We're doing, selling townhouses in McGill. Like, just... And we apply, like, because we're doing so many different things, we apply learnings from each of those, and then apply the structure and strategy. But like, the easiest thing to do is just look at the viral Instagram and like, what are they doing? Look at their hooks, look at their zoom in, look at their micro animations. Like, what are they doing? What's their topic? And just like, don't copy it, but like, borrow,
take stuff,
take the best of it, put your spin on it, and just give it a go. Like, it's all doable. You just the blueprint's already there. You already can see which ones perform the best. You're like, oh, that's had 2 million views. Like, just sort of like...
I do that with a lot of my recipes,
borrow that,
like my posts as well. It's like, well, like, people are them watching mine, and like, they obviously haven't seen these other ones.
Yeah.
And it's like no recipes. There are obviously chefs out there who make up new recipes, but there's a lot of recipes which are just, it's the same shit.
Yeah.
It's like, you're just reposting it, repurposing it your way.
And you've got Chat GPT and all these AI. Like, there's no excuse for not coming up with ideas. Like, it's just plug it in there, with the right prompt, and you've got ideas for stuff for days. Like you can get your script written, you get the whole video. It says this is the B-roll you need to do. This is it. Do this, do that, and it's just a matter of using these tools, but just picking probably one platform or one. If you can do video, then sort of stick to that. Just try and make some content. Just do it real quick. Just do one, get it out there, see what happens. If it's no good, try again. Oh, that didn't work. And, when we're going through our editing process, we're like, oh, that one went viral. We've got 2.5 million. The one we did like last night, or we put up, got 17 or 18,000 views. It's like, okay, what was it? Like, you never know what the viral like hook is, but it's like you're just trying to keep doing better. And if you can keep improving slightly everything you do over time, it adds up massively. Like, and some of the stuff you're putting out, Josh, look back to what you first started and then to what it is now. Like, that's just like trial and error, and you're just like, oh, I've got my style, and you're getting lots of great content ideas coming out of that.
100%.
There you go.
Nice.
To add?
Not really. I think that's kind of pretty much about it. That was our closing kind of segment. Actually, we'll finish off with recommendation.
Oh, yeah.
Did you think about this at all? Recommendation for... We normally just do...
Something you listen
like
to,
something you listen to,
watching.
read, watch, Netflix, like anything. It's just a recommendation.
Restaurant.
What did Len do? She did like a iced coffee, like
drink
protein drink or something.
Oh, that's a good question. I actually didn't see that question. I looked at everything else.
Mine would be for people to watch the June series, like the June 1 and June 2.
Yeah,
saw number
Sunday.
2. Yeah.
That's good.
Did you rate it?
Yeah, loved
Yeah,
it.
yeah, it was sick. I thought it was epic. So I thought that would be my recommendation for the week.
Yeah.
What about you? What do you got?
Shit, I don't really have much. I haven't listened or watched anything new recently. I mean, the footy. Shit, what do I got? I've just been watching Survivor.
Yeah, you're loving Survivor.
Yeah, really into
Christy's
it now.
onto that as well.
Yeah.
So many people have got on the trend.
I just feel like, in terms of reality TV, that's pretty good. It's pretty realistic. Like, they're actually not eating food and sleeping like shit versus... Like, I know a lot of people are watching Maths at the moment, but I just can't. Like,
Oh, I can't. It does my head in.
yeah.
Yeah, it's garbage.
Yeah.
What do you got? You got anything?
Oh,
Not maths.
Book, podcast, movie, TV show that you like?
What about a book that you're recently reading? Do you have any books?
a book I really like is by Tim Grover, which is
Relentless.
Relentless. I know I've covered that one before, but I really like that. Another one, if you're into visualization, if you're an athlete, is Mind Gym, an athlete's guide to inner excellence. That's what I was reading before I hit my shot, so I can sort of like just the power of visualization that it can really, a lot of the great athletes,
loves it.
yeah, all the best athletes of all time, they all say the same thing. Like Jordan, say I dream about it. So when I get to that moment, it's not.
Tiger Woods said the same thing. Like they even had an interview with him, and it was like he doesn't remember half of his shots that he hit that were like to win the tournament or whatever. He's like, I literally just blacked out, and I can't remember hitting the shot. But like,
He's done that a few times.
yeah, he's like, I just blacked out. I haven't missed it.
It's like, babe, I blacked out.
Yeah.
I don't remember those girls.
But yeah, he was saying him with his his shots. It was like he just steps over the ball and then he looks up and he's hit it, and he's like, oh, like. So it's definitely a thing.
Yeah.
Nice, good closing point.
Cool work.
Well, thanks for coming on.
Cheers
the
for jumping on,
Drew.
brother.
Pleasure.
Appreciate that.
Thanks
Might
for
have to
having
get your wife on next, I reckon.
That'd be great.
Just about basketball stories.
She'll just
the
do that. Yeah, I was
highlights.
there for all the basketball stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
She's like, no, I didn't remember that shot.
That was before her time.
All right, thanks, brother.
Thanks
and
for coming
we'll
on,
catch
brah.
everyone in the
Guys.
next episode.
Cheers.